Against the Ropes podcast.
Contra las cuerdas.
Against the Ropes podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. AtR podcast. Gio Garcia here alongside Christian Mosqueda, back for another episode. We're getting straight to it, Chris. We have a lot to speak on, a lot to talk about today.
Yeah, I mean, of course, we know who we're going to talk about. It's been a lot of going on in the boxing world. You know, we were there at the press conference. We saw a lot of it firsthand. But yeah, let's also highlight the good stuff about boxing, Gio. Let's start with your boy Venado, man. So tell me your thoughts on his performance this weekend.
Venado Lopez, man, he got an 8th round stoppage over Abe. Dominant. He basically dominated from start to finish. Hurt Abe in the second round, I believe it was. Did damage on that eye. Kept working on it all fight long. And yeah, I mean, referee stopped the fight. You know, if you watch the clip of just the stoppage, you're probably like, oh man, what kind of stoppage was that? But, you know, in reality, Abe was getting beat up all fight long. The ringside doctor stepped onto the ring quite a few times. It seemed like after every round he was stepping onto the ring trying to check up on that eye, and it was looking bad. It was looking bad. Venado put a beating on him, and he had some interesting words there at the end of the fight. He said, of course, he wants unification. He's been calling for it for a while. However, he also said, you know, he doesn't mind moving up to 130. He name-dropped Valdez. He name-dropped Wilson. We know that fight is coming up at the end of the month. He said he wouldn't mind fighting the winner.
Yeah, no, you mentioned it, Joe. He looks sensational. Of course, he had a great fighter in front of him. You know, a tough veteran in Abe. But again, this is why we're so high on Manny. He's got one of the most awkward styles, but yet it just happens to work for him. I was reading through some of the comments, and I was sharing some of the same sentiments. He has, like, I know he has a jab, but he doesn't use it. All these left hooks, right hooks, man, they land and they're powerful. And you saw from round one, round two onward, everything was just connecting. And again, I always said this is probably what Rolly Romero aspires to be. He's got such an awkward style, but he's not as accurate as Venado. But yeah, Venado, you know, just keep showing why he's the man at 126.
Venado will clean up his act with the wild shots when he faces tougher competition. Jesus says Carrington is going to KO Venado. Oh, stop it, man. I won't even address that comment. You need to stop it. A lot of comments about, obviously, Ryan Garcia. Clyde's return. Clyde is back. Shout out to Clyde. But yeah, man, look, Venado's looking good. Let me show you guys the champions in or around his division, because things start to get interesting here. You see it on your screens there. The champions at 126, Rafael Espinosa, who defeated Robesi. Of course, they were talking about that fight with Robesi Ramirez happening. Espinosa defeated him. So he's there. Let's see if Robesi can make a bit of a comeback. You know, that he fumbled the bag against Venado. You know, that fight was supposed to happen, but he took that loss. Raymond Ford and Ray Vargas are also the champions, of course. Ray Vargas was defeated when he stepped up to 130. At 126, he's still the champion. And Ford, who just obtained that title as well. So that's what's on the horizon at 126. If Venado chooses to stay there, or he can go up. Of course, the champions here at 130. Emmanuel Navarrete, Joe Cordina, Lamont Roach, and Oshaki Foster, who defeated Ray Vargas. So, of course, he mentioned, as I said, the winner of Wilson and Valdez. That fight's going down at the end of the month. So, yeah, interesting for Venado. I think, obviously he's an entertaining fighter. He's a champion. He's showing a lot of power as of late, so he's gonna get big fights, Chris. It all kind of points toward a Mexican showdown. Whether that's a guy like Valdez. I mean, I wouldn't write off that fight with Navarrete either. You know, Espinosa is also champion at 126. So a lot of interesting names there for Venado potentially.
Yeah, like you mentioned, Gio, he called out the winner, one division above him. I think he knows that's the money fight. Of course, you mentioned all these other title holders that he could also potentially face. I think he's done a lot of the hard work already. We know that he took some of the tougher assignments en route to him winning a championship, and he's always fought guys in their backyard. And yeah, again, it's I think that's what's made him such a great champion. That he's taken the hard way in, and he's maintaining himself up there. Of course, he's got such an awkward style. I think it could pose trouble for the Wilsons and for the Valdezes. That one makes sense to me. I think he did right by calling out those guys after this win, and after whoever comes out the winner on that fight, that would make for a great money showdown. If it's Valdez or is it Wilson, I think that's a fight that makes sense.
Yeah, and Big Bro saying he won't be that reckless against other guys, and he wasn't that reckless against Conlon or Warrington, saying Abe basically wasn't a threat. So, yeah, man, he was at times just straight up walking up to Abe, hands down. And that's what makes him entertaining. And like I said, he's been punching hard as of late. He didn't start off his career with too many knockouts, but he's been hurting guys as he's moving up in weight and all that. So, yeah, very exciting fighter. Of course, I had to rock the Venado Lopez shirt. Personal gift from him. We swapped, Chris. I gave him an ATR shirt. He gave me his training shirt. So, yeah, man, good friend of the channel, friend of the show, El Venado Lopez, and I hope he just gets a big fight, gets a big bag, because this guy is he's must-watch TV, man. He's very, very, very entertaining.
Yeah, and again, he was fighting against a natural boxer in Abe, and we just seen him do that to natural boxers. He has power in both hands. We saw in this fight he's able to cut off the ring. I know some people were dropping their comments like, "Hey, that's how you cut off the ring," and that's something I noticed in this fight. Again, he's got power on both ends. Very awkward style. I agree with Big Bro that he's gonna have to, be a little bit more defensively sound. But he does have some things going for him. So I think this is why it makes him most watched TV. If he goes up against guys like those guys, Valdez and Wilson, he can get hurt. Those guys also have the potential. They're bigger guys. They do have power to also hurt Venado, but Venado, I think he can carry his power to the next weight class. So I'm excited to see what happens next with Venado. He's one of those guys that I wouldn't bet against him. So yeah, man, I'm excited for Venado. He's got still a lot to go.
Yeah, and then also another interesting fight. I actually turned the TV off, Chris. I think I changed it to like a Laker game or something. But this this fight happened after that Venado fight, Raymond Ford against Otabek Kolmatov. Kolmatov from Uzbekistan was up on the cards. You guys see it there. He was up on the cards and was stopped almost in the last 30 seconds, I believe, were left in the fight. Did you get a chance to see that, Chris? And what did you think about the stoppage?
Yeah, I saw the highlights. I didn't get to see the fight in real time, but I did see the highlights, and was able to see that that Raymond was able to come out with a stoppage. I'm a little torn. In a way, you want to see a more clear, more definitive kind of knockout, but I'm a little torn, Gio. That's one of those decisions where you can advocate for both sides, but yeah, definitely Raymond needed a knockout. He's falling behind on some of the scorecards, and yeah, I'm a little torn, Gio. What were your thoughts on that stoppage?
Oh, I strongly disagreed with the stoppage. Let's see. Let's pull back the cards up here. So two judges had Kolmatov up 106, 103. One judge had Raymond Ford up 105, 104. So even with the knockdown, Kolmatov would have probably still won the fight by majority, right? Or split. Can't remember the difference, but yeah, I strongly disagree with the stoppage. It looked like he stumbled onto the ropes a little bit. A lot of people in the comments were saying, "Oh man, he turned his back." I don't think that was the case. I don't think he was that hurt. I think he just stumbled on the ropes and he was caught there on a weird angle, and the referee was quick to stop it. Yeah, I disagree with it. And with less than a minute left, I don't know. I think the ref should have probably been a little more patient.
Yeah, when you get these kind of decisions, you kind of always look at the powers that be, like, oh, I helped your boy Ford a little bit. So I'm hoping the same powers that be, they're able to get Kolmatov another fight, another top match, bit of a bag, because I mean he was winning that fight. He was winning most of those rounds in this fight. So hey, again, these guys are fighters. You better make it right, man. Give him a big fight. Get something close so he can bounce back.
Fight of the year, says Big Bro. Ford, great performance. Showed championship spirit. Real good fight. Stoppage was right. The Uzbek was hurt badly, and he got caught clean after turning his back. He says, hey, run it back. Right? Run it back. Why not? But yeah, Raymond Ford, he's one of the champions now. You guys saw the list. So that's even a possibility with Venado Lopez there too. They fought on the same day, so they can match them up there. Brandon Figueroa is the interim champion for that Ray Vargas belt. So yeah, it's a good division right there. It's a good division. Not sure if 130 is the move for Venado, but look, I don't think he has anything to lose if he goes up to 130, especially if he challenges a guy like Oscar Valdez. We're assuming he's gonna win, right? Because that's the big money fight. But I think if Valdez wins, I think it's a win-win for Venado, because yeah, you go up and wait. Let's say you lose, you're still champion at 126, and you just got a big bag, most likely for fighting Valdez. In all Mexican war, we enjoy those. Now, if Wilson wins, man, Wilson is 6 feet tall, Chris. That guy, he's gonna be tough for anybody. He can punch. You guys saw him almost stop Emmanuel Navarrete. So I don't know if I take that fight if I'm Venado with Wilson, if Wilson wins, But if I were Valdez, I think that would be very, very interesting. Both guys offensively minded. Like I said, two Mexican warriors. I think that would be very, very interesting. But look, I think Venado right now, I'm happy for him because it seems like the ball is on his court, man. He's a champion. He's entertaining. He's making a lot of noise, and he has options. So that's always good.
Yeah, and I think we've seen that pattern before, where some of these title holders, these champions, they go one division. Most of the time, they come up short unless you're Naoya Inoue, But it feels like you said, you don't lose a whole lot because you still hold on to your title in your class. So I wouldn't be against it for Venado, but at the same time, I would say there's no rush to go up there. I know it's a big money fight, big money bag, something that could secure his future. But for me, if I'm him, if I'm his management team, I'm like, yo, we've had all these, backyard, opposing fighters, backyard fights. Let's fight some here at home. Let's fight with some of the guys in our division. Robesi is a name. Again, like you said, he's coming off a loss. He needs to, regroup. But that's a fight that makes sense for Ronaldo. Even taking on Espinoza, dangerous fight, big guy, but that guy's in his weight class. It would be a classic, would be a fight of the year kind of fight, big money fight as well. So I would say, as much as it is enticing to go up, I wouldn't advise it. Take your time, let your body grow into that division, and then see those guys. But we know Ronaldo, he's not somebody to shy away from a challenge. So I wouldn't be surprised if after that fight they sign it at the end of the year. But again, Venado knows what he's doing. His management team knows what they're doing. So yeah, best of luck to whatever he decides to take on next. I'm gonna be tuning in.
Yeah, and honestly, I didn't even get a chance to catch the undercard. This fight was in New York, man. I don't know why they're sending all these fights to New York, but I of course I caught the Venado fight, and I mean, look, another good performance, entertaining, right? So I don't want to spend too much time on this, Chris. We do have some heavyweight action going on actually Friday. Of course, the Haney Garcia press conferences. We've had a couple already, Chris. You were at one of them. We'll play a lot of those clips and get people's reactions and all that. Any last words on Venado Lopez?
Must see TV. If you're gonna see any fight of any fighter this year, I would say outside of Inoue, outside of Beterbiev, Venado. That's what you need to see.
Clyde says, I'm back, but Ryan shouldn't. And
man, Clyde, Ryan got you out of hiding, dog.
All right, man. Let's get into that, man, because look, all I did was type in his name on Google and a bunch of stuff comes up. I mean, I don't even know what to say, Chris. Are we gonna have a fight on April 20th? You were there at the press conference. I think a lot has happened since, just within the last week or so. A lot has happened. It seems like every day it's getting worse and worse. But let's begin there. You were there at the press conference. He had an extravagant arrival. He was on a horse. He had a lot of lady friends. The press conference itself, the confrontation, the face-off was very intense. How was the atmosphere? I know there was a lot of people there. And were you able to kind of see any behind the scenes stuff being there in person?
Yeah, no, first of all, the atmosphere was great. A lot of fans out there waiting for hours. A lot of people showed up very early. I heard some people were there since 9 a.m. The first sign of trouble was that he did get there late. So I'm like, there you go, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney doing those kinds of things. But that was like the first sign that there was something off. Come the press conference, Gio, obviously you saw the ring entrance. Obviously they're trying to really build this fight up. They have to build it up a little bit. He's not fighting a guy like Tank where it kind of sells itself. Nobody really knows outside of the boxing, fanatics who Devin Haney is, so you kind of have to push it. So at first I thought they were doing this for the antics, but really quickly, like inside that press conference show, you start to see kind of Ryan Garcia unravel. So if you ask me, do I think that this fight that Ryan makes it to April 20th right now? I say no.
Wow.
I don't think it makes it, Gio.
Man, and you guys are watching the clip of his arrival there in LA. It looked a bit chaotic. Chris, what was going through your mind when you saw the 20-30 women just walk by and then followed by Ryan on a horse?
When I first saw that, I was like, okay, like, we've always talked about entrances. How you have to, sell yourself, market yourself. I was like, okay, Ryan's doing something big here. You know, it's something that you hardly ever see. If you see something like that, it's a Ric Flair in WWE. It's something big. So, and I saw that, I was like, okay, he's bringing it. You know, you saw the girls, you saw the force, you saw, you know, all the theatrics. I was like, this is a guy that really knows how to market himself, how to use his platform, how to, you know, use everything at his disposal to try to bring attention to this. So I was impressed when I first saw that. I was like, all right, this is something brewing, this is something good.
All right, yeah, and you guys see it there. Big Bro saying, quoting Henry Garcia, saying that he's trolling, but the wrong way. I did see a comment by his father writing that on one of the comments on Instagram. Seems like his brother wrote some stuff too. He said, "Pray for my brother, his ex-wife, his close family and friends." You know, this part, Chris, I liked. I'm like, okay, like you said, someone has to sell this fight. You know, Devin Haney doesn't really have a fan base. He doesn't really put people in seats. You need someone to do this part right here, the showmanship, right? Get people excited, get people talking. It went viral, Chris. They even posted this on your news station. Everybody was talking about it. You see it there. A little weird. He was getting carried in by his security or whatnot, but I like this part. I'm like, okay, cool. Now he's selling it. Now I'm a bit more interested. And then I guess after that, it all kind of went downhill.
Yeah, like you said, Joe, it started off right, started off hot. You know, everything that you want from a boxer, a boxing star. You know, but then really quickly you saw the things unravel. I know Oscar said some of these things, as you know, he was calling Ryan a genius of marketing. I would
Yes.
disagree in certain areas. I mean, again, this is the way to kind of market yourself, but again, you see him unraveling come press conference. But you know, take notes from this. I mean, not everybody can get, you know, this kind of thing, but this is a kind of creativity that you should kind of aspire for when, you know, you're marketing yourself. But yeah, man, once it went inside, I think Devin Haney and Papa Haney, and you know, I think, and the fans, because obviously we know that Ryan has both fans and as well as non-fans. So I think some of that got to him, and we saw it unravel inside the press conference.
All right. So now talking about the press conference itself, he came out to a Diddy song. He made some references to Diddy. A lot of us obviously have heard about that situation. So he was sending some jabs. And then in the press conference itself, you know, some pictures had circulated, some audio, some videos of him doing extracurricular activities that probably are looked down upon, on at least in today's era. We know everybody in the 80s and 90s, we know what they were on, Chris, you know, but I guess for this era is something that people are not used to. So Devin Haney did bring it up, and let's go ahead and play this clip by B-Hop reacting to Ryan Garcia admitting his alcohol and marijuana usage.
On a regular basis.
Well, if it was not legal, I have a problem with it. But I think 90% of people in LA and New York are smoking some kind of marijuana or taking some kind of edibles. Saying that, I say that if that's what Ryan needs for Ryan at this moment, and it doesn't affect the rules and regulation of boxing and to his ability, then we're talking something different, because he has invested in himself and his family first, and we haven't invested.
All right, so B-Hop trying to, you know, excuse his fighter, his guy, of course, Golden Boy Promotion. He has to have his back. I know there's another clip too. If I get a chance, I'll play it. Where Oscar said, "Hey, this guy's he knows how to sell a fight. He's a genius." You know, it seemed like they were trying to kind of sweep things under the rug and trying to tell us, "Hey, everything is fine." But it's gonna be very interesting, Chris, to see what their comments are, if anything changes next time they speak in front of the cameras, because as I said, a lot has happened between then and now.
Yeah, of course, like you said, you as a promoter, they're doing damage control. You know, you're supposed to say, you know, like he's being real, he's being
First of all,
he's being open. But come on, it's Bernard Hopkins, it's Oscar De La Hoya. These guys are Hall of Famers, world champions. In their heyday, they were extremely disciplined, especially Bernard Hopkins. So you know, behind closed doors, they're going like, man, what is up with this kid? You know, behind doors, they're trying to advise him like, hey, you gotta stay disciplined. Hey, this is not what a champion does. This is not what a future champion does. You know, you have to, you know, almost be married to the game, and it's hard enough to stay on top when you're disciplined. When you're not, it's gonna cost you. So I think they're just doing damage control, especially Bernard. I think Bernard is the type of guy to call a fighter, you know, especially a young fighter, on the road to superstardom. He's the type to call him out.
Yeah, and they asked Bernard, like, hey man, like you in your days, you didn't even like consuming sugar. What do you think about tell me what do you think about your fighter doing this? And that's where he had that answer. You know, hey, he tried his best to, you know, have his fighters back. But here, let's play this other clip of the actual face off itself. Chris, I don't know. You can give us a reaction after this clip here. Yeah, the press conference was hosted by Mario Lopez, right? Who has a great podcast too. He has a very good the 3 knockdown rule, I believe, is called, with Steve Kim. They have some good combos on there. But yeah, give us your thoughts. Like I said, you were there. Ryan was kind of all over the place. A lot of trash talk. His dad was trash talking too. Ryan was talking shit to some guy in the crowd. Ryan's mom was talking to Devin Haney, interrupting him. Yeah, give us your thoughts on everything that happened there in LA.
Yeah, well, in that face-off in particular, you know, some people say they like it to a face-off. Other people say that there's not much to see. For me, you know, and I go back to Mike Tyson when he looks at an opponent's eyes and he waits to see them crack or for them to look away or for, you know, for him to see that fear in their eyes. In this face-off in particular, the first one to walk away was Ryan Garcia, and we saw some moments in, you know, leading up to that face-off where you kind of start to question Ryan. But in that face-off in particular, I think even Devin Haney saw, like, once Ryan turned and he walked away, you saw Devin Haney raise his hands like, I got him, like this fight is mine. If I didn't know before, which I'm sure he did, I think that moment like kind of cemented him, like, I got him. Like it's a wrap. So yeah, moments leading up to that when I think Devin Haney asks him, you know, hey Ryan, like, are you gonna show up? And Ryan doesn't respond. You know, I'm used to Ryan responding, whether he responds something clever or something corny, he responds. So it was a little telling that he didn't have no clapback. I think even his coach next to him told him like, hey man, he's asking you're gonna come back, like, you know, say something, you know, like respond. I think that got Devin Haney, you know, very confident, like, oh, he doesn't want to be here. So yeah, there's moments again where you saw Ryan Garcia, even though he's got like clapbacks, he didn't have much to say in that moment. And for the fan, which I'm surprised that a guy, you know, of course you're gonna defend yourself, you're gonna get defensive, you're gonna talk back to some of the fans, but I'm always shocked when a fighter lets a fan get to him. You know, like you're making upwards of $80 million. How are you gonna let somebody get to you like that? So again, there's a lot of moments in that press conference here where it was telling that Ryan's not all there.
Yeah, man, and look, what you guys are seeing here on your screen, I'm gonna just go ahead and read some of the stuff that just pops up on Google. I'm sure you guys have seen or read some of the tweets, some of the stuff going on, some of the videos. He's saying he got hacked and he got attacked. I don't know, man. Look, I'm gonna just go ahead and read some of the headlines here. Ryan Garcia's ex-wife expresses alarm over him. He is not fine, she says. Let's see. Ryan says he lost access to phone, credit cards. He says he's not dead. On an audio that leaked today, he was talking to Andrew Tate. You guys see it there. It says they tied me down and made me watch little kids get abused. He's other headlines saying just Ryan saying that he's okay. Him claiming that elites tied him down, forced him to watch this crazy stuff in Bohemian Grove, like a bunch of crazy stuff. Jake Paul roasting him. Man, it's all over the place, Chris. And I think the big question right now is, will we get a fight April 20th? We're going to go ahead and create a poll, Chris. We can talk about it, about the results next week. But give us your thoughts. I, at first, thought it was just trolling. I thought this guy's trying to sell the fight. Now I'm not so sure. But yes or no, will Ryan Garcia be fighting Devin Haney? We know our boy Arnold Barboza is ready. He's next in line. They have that plan B, it seems like. But will Ryan Garcia step onto that ring against Devin Haney April 20th in New York?
No. This is the first time that I see this Andrew Tate comments, and if I didn't think Brian was off the rails a little bit, like already, that kind of cements it. Like that's just bizarre, outlandish, things that he's putting out there. And again, Joe, you know that we're fans of Ryan Garcia. We know that he has star power. He's a good fighter. He's got a heck of a left hook. He's got everything to be a superstar in the sport. But yeah, some things are just not going. There's some things off, in his mind. And I know people will talk about this mental health narrative, but he's doing some stuff, man. Honestly, like he's doing some stuff where he's not right in the mind. And like people have said it before, this is a dangerous sport. You don't just walk into the sport or into a fight if you're not 100% clear-headed. So yeah, I don't see him making it to April 20th. It's in doubt if this fight even gets pushed back if he makes it to that. I think he needs a chicken somewhere, and I say that with all due respect, wishing nothing but the best for Ryan. But yeah, I don't see him right now making it to April 20th, and it's probably the best thing that he doesn't. Like you mentioned, and how we saw at the press conference, Arnold Barboza raised his hand and he said, like, "Hey, put me in, coach. I'm here if this fight falls through." So, I think I'm a little surprised. First of all, I was a little surprised that they brought an Arnold Barboza there. I feel like Oscar de la Hoya and Golden Boy kind of anticipated this, and they probably put it Arnold there so people wouldn't, say, where did this guy come from? I think they've already kind of teased it. So yeah, again, this would be a blessing for our boy Arnold Barboza. We know how much he struggled with his previous promoter, and now we see him like just inches away from these mega fights. So if this fight falls through and Arnold is to get the fight, then that would be a blessing in disguise for Ryan. Honestly, to get in a fight with the top 5 lightweights, you got to be 100%.
All right, now I've heard that narrative that they're kind of preparing for it, and that's why Arnold was there at the press conference. I just think Arnold is from LA, so it makes sense to have him there. They've been pushing him. He's been on the radio. He's been Power 106. He's doing all these interviews. So I think that was just Golden Boy trying to push his name out there. I don't think it was because of this. I don't think they anticipated this. Big Bro says Shakur said he's willing to jump in, rather see that fight. But look, man, to me, Ryan Garcia turned into Julio Cesar Chavez within a week. Crazy to see, right? I think, I hope he's okay to fight.
Is that Chavez Jr. or Chavez Sr.?
Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Sorry if I left that part out. Can't compare him to the legend. But, he turned into Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. within a week. I hope he's okay to fight. I think he'll make it. I think there's a lot of money on the line. I wouldn't be surprised if he fights. However, I think he gets stopped. I think he gets stopped by Pillow Hands Haney, Chris. At this rate, look, this guy's spending all day on the internet. The more time you spend on the internet, the less time you're spending in the gym, training, preparing, watching video, eating right, being healthy. You know, this guy's spending all day on the internet, man. This guy's not preparing. But look, we know Haney can't punch. He might just get a stoppage, Chris. He might just get a stoppage.
Yeah, no, I actually agree. I think even someone that lacks power like Devin Haney frustrates the heck out of you with his boxing skill, with his accuracy, and he frustrates you to the point where he makes Ryan miss. Because that's what's going to happen if you start losing all those early rounds. You know that Ryan's going to try to fall in love with that one punch knockout, and you know it, Gio. When you try to get that knockout, when you try to find it, it doesn't come to you. And I feel like Devin is going to be racking up points, racking up confidence, jabbing him, to the point of like no return. So yeah, I agree. If this is a perfect time for Devin Haney to get a knockout, and who better than a big name like Ryan Garcia?
Yeah, man. Well, we'll see what happens. Will this affect Devin Haney's camp? Do you think this is also causing distraction for the Haney team?
I think that they're thinking that this guy like Ryan's off the rails, but I don't see it. I see them being very disciplined, and I think they're already, in a sense, kind of preparing for an Arnold Barbosa, jumping in, and they might think Arnold Barbosa is easy work, but that's going to be probably a more complicated fight than an unfocused Ryan Garcia, than a Ryan Garcia that's not mentally there. So I think they stay disciplined. I think they stay locked in. I think Devin Haney is one of the most disciplined fighters right now in the game. We saw how competitive he was with Lomachenko, even though I know you don't think he won that fight. A lot of people don't think he won that fight, but the fact that he stayed competitive shows how disciplined he is. So yeah, I don't see anything distracting Devin Haney. Except maybe Puff Daddy, but I think he learned his lesson.
Oh, come on, man. Look, I think it is a distraction, man, because I don't think they're ready for this. I don't think they're ready for this. This guy here. Let's just play some more clips from.
As a little baby.
From that.
My family loses everything. We're sleeping in cars. 5 kids, 1 bedroom, with a dream. And with God, we just let God lead our life. And through that whole process, I grinded. I earned everything I have today. I earned it. I didn't. Nobody gave me a handout. Never had money. I'm really a small town boy. And then I just grew up as a man. And you start evolving, you start being a leader, and then I gotta clean some stuff up. Maybe I didn't make the right move. The other day posting that picture, me lighting it up. Bad move, my bad. But you keep it moving. Life. I just want to let God. If I'm not the man I'm supposed to be, that means God's not done yet. And I feel like, look at it. Everybody has the same chance I have. And I just invite you to get to know Jesus Christ. Thank you.
Amen. Amen. So at just 25 years of age, I mean, think about this. There's a lot that Devin Haney hasn't accomplished in the sport of boxing. He's undefeated.
And with that, just another clip from that press conference. Chris, we'll see if we get any more. Look, there's still about a month and a half left. We'll see if we end up getting this fight after all. As of now, I think most people will say it's probably not going to happen. But, man, we'll see. We'll see. All right.
Yeah, let me say first, Gio, like that press conference was crazy. I've always said that there's no such thing as bad publicity, and if Ryan Garcia doesn't go off, like doesn't show what he's going through on social media, on X, Twitter, whatever, Instagram, I think people really buy into this fight, and now people are saying like he may not make it. So again, man, even though a lot of people didn't like the corniness of that that press conference, like it got people talking. Like you said, it was on the news, it was on the radio, like it's everywhere. But it seems like now it's everywhere for the wrong reason. So yeah, it's unfortunate. Again, I do hope, you know, Ryan does get better. That's something I think he's great for boxing once he's mentally healthy. But again, it's looking tough right now, Gio.
Yeah, and just clicked on his Twitter, and everything has been pretty much deleted. His tweets. I think the latest tweet is from April 2023. You see this stuff. It's all old stuff. Looks like everything has been deleted. So, man, we'll see. We'll see what else happens here. It looks like something out of a movie, right? But
yeah,
man, I don't know. I don't even know what to think. Like I said, at first I thought it was just a troll, and now it's getting crazier and crazier.
How much percentage do you give this fight happening April 20th?
Oh man. Right now I'm gonna say like 40%.
40?
I'm gonna say 40% right now.
It's pretty high, pretty high. What
do you
makes you think that it goes on ahead?
I think if they were to cancel the fight, I think it would have happened already. They still have some time. I don't know if they're just waiting it out and trying to see if someone else steps in there, you know, like Big Bro said, Shakur, or a guy like Arnold. I feel like maybe they're still trying to figure that all out, but I don't think we've heard much from B Hop or Oscar since. So I don't know. There's a lot of money on the line, obviously. I don't know. I feel like he said so many crazy things and the fight's still on. So I'm not, as you can see, I'm not very confident in that answer. But
How much do you want to see this fight now, Gio? I know before you weren't too excited about it. I think he gave it like a 5 or a 6. And I think I'm being generous, but like how much more or how much else are you excited to see this fight?
Probably like 1 or 2 more points than that. Whatever I said, 4 or 5, whatever I said. It makes me want to see it a little more, but yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like it's just a crazy situation. Obviously, as you see, my excitement level went up a little bit. You know, not sure if that's the same case for you. And then also, if you can answer, what percentage do you give it as far as this fight happening?
Yeah, I thought yours was a little too high. I say 30% right now. I give it 30% just because again, it was very telling to see how far off Ryan is. But yeah, again, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say Golden Boy's gonna make him do it, and maybe Ryan's his pride kicks in and he decides to do it, and he maybe against a lot of his family members' wishes, he goes on with it. But yeah, 30% right now. Again, if I'm Golden Boy, I think I benched Ryan, for a couple months so he gets a little bit better, and I put a guy like Arnold Barbosa in, and I try to keep this event alive. But we'll see what happens again. I think the next week, week and a half, 2 weeks, is going to be very telling, and I'm sure we'll get new things on social media, new news coming out from the camp, and we'll get more answers.
All right, yeah, and look, you guys can check out all that coverage. Chris was out there in LA for that press conference. If you guys want to check out all the videos, some behind the scenes stuff. Oscar also talking about Canelo. We're still waiting for the Canelo news. Who will he fight next? Obviously, the rumors right now are that he's going to fight. They're saying on PBC against Munguia. So we'll see what happens with that. Nothing's official yet. I just saw a clip of Eddie Hearns saying nothing is official. So, yeah, as I said, if you guys want to watch some more videos there, Oscar talking about Canelo, Oscar talking about Ryan. You see Arnold there, Arnold Barboza, the rival, the press conference. Yoka was also out there. Shout out to Yoka. But yeah, that's that, Chris. A lot of craziness going on. We'll see next week what else is new.
Yeah, again, I think the only one that kind of benefited from this was Devin Haney, man. I think him and Papa Haney got a whole set of new eyes on them, you know, from people that didn't know who they were. So I don't know how his numbers are. I saw Ryan Garcia's numbers, dude. He ended up losing, I think, up over 100,000 followers. It's crazy. His, you know, just all this craziness. But again, we'll see what happens. I know that the next week and a half is going to be very telling, and we'll see what happens. Again, I already got my tickets to New York, Gio. So like, if somebody needs to fight, whether it's a Arnold or somebody else, I personally don't want your poor to step in, man. I'm not trying to fall asleep in New York, but we'll see what happens. Again, I'm a big fan of Devin Haney. I'm a big fan of disciplined fighters. So whoever he fights, whether it's an Arnold Barbosa, I think that's a tree vote. Again, this fight, like you said, it's not scratched off yet. Time will tell.
Big Bro says his interest is even lower. He's not in the gym trying to better his game and fix his flaws. Devin might knock him out in less than 8 now.
Hey, not far out, man. If there's a time for Devin Haney to get a TKO, it's now. But yeah, let's keep it going, Joe. I don't have too much else to say about this. I know there'll be more though, down the stretch of the week.
All right, well, let's go ahead and move on to the next topic. Of course, we got some heavyweight action. Shout out to our boy Turkey Al Sheikh. I know he's watching. But look, this is what we have coming up. Friday should be a good card here. Big Bro was telling me earlier that main event is probably going to start around 3 p.m. Pacific time. It's going to start early in the morning. Not sure I'll be able to catch it live, but I'll figure out a way to watch it, Chris. I'll figure out a way to watch it. Look, there's some good action on there. We got Rey Vargas, who we spoke on, 36-1 against Nick Ball, 19-0 undefeated. We got Israel Madrimov against Magomed Kurbanov, 25-0 he is against Madrimov, 9-0. Of course, Big Bang Zile Zong, 26-1-1 against Joseph Parker, 34-3. However, coming off that big win against Deontay Wilder, beat him every single round, and that's a very good heavyweight fight right there for the WBO interim. Usually that doesn't mean much, but look, if the winner is getting a big fight, they might get the winner of Usyk Fury. The winner might get a title shot, so that's a very important fight there. And of course, the main event, Anthony Joshua, 27-3. Those 3 losses coming to Andy Ruiz and twice to Alexander Usyk, against Francis Ngannou, who's 0-1, Chris. But look, you see his ranking right there, says number 33. People are ranking him very high. What's your take on this fight? Are you excited? Will you watch? Do we care?
I'm excited, and it's only because of what Ngannou did to Tyson Fury. Again, we know that this is the Tyson Fury that, you know, didn't prepare, you know, to the max. I think he thought this guy, you know, with 0 boxing fights, with, you know, wasn't at his level, but he already dropped them. Like that's impressive in itself. So I'm a little bit excited for this one. I think Francis is one of the, from what I've seen, interviews I've seen, he seems like a nice guy, very disciplined guy. This guy has hit the lottery, because him and his team have said that they've never seen so much money. You know, they should have crossed over to boxing a while ago. But I mean, he's capitalizing on this. Like you said, Gio, 0-1, 2 fights. He's probably got, in these 2 fights, he'll probably be paid more than 90% of boxers nowadays. So again, heavyweights make a ton of money, and he's in 2 fights, he would have gone, you know, 2 out of the 3 biggest names in boxing at the heavyweight limit. So I'm tuning in. I'm curious. I want to see what happens. It's something crazy happens where Ngannou drops Joshua, it's going to make the rounds.
What are the odds of that? Do you think he stands a chance? Or was it simply Tyson Fury not taking him serious and Joshua's going to get him out of there quick? Which scenario do you think is more likely? You know, Joshua struggling or Joshua getting him out of there quickly?
I think we have similar sentiments. You tell me if you disagree with me or not. I think Anthony Joshua learned from Tyson Fury's mistake. I think he comes in very disciplined. I don't think he takes any chances. I think he tries to knock him out, get him out of there quickly. And I think he tries to, use that as a, hey, look at what I did to the guy that you struggled with. And that's a smart play to do. But yeah, I think Francis Ngannou is a little bit better than we gave him credit for, Gio. And I've said it time and time again. And when I'm wrong, I'll admit it. So I think he's going to struggle a little bit more, but eventually I think Joshua will figure him out and we'll get him out of there.
Interesting. I will agree with that too. I will agree with that. MMA guys usually struggle. Usually they don't got hands like that. So I think Tyson Fury didn't take that fight very seriously. But he was dropped in that fight. I think Ngannou will test Joshua's chin, but I think if Joshua decides to box, to be smart and just do what he does, I think he should win this fight. I don't want to be disrespectful and say easily, but I think he can get a stoppage in this one. And honestly, I feel like he needs it. I feel like if that does not happen, a lot of people will criticize this choice. A lot of people will criticize this fight. And we saw Tyson Fury's stock drop a little bit. I don't think Joshua will want the same. So as you said, I agree. I think he learned from that Fury mistake, and I think he should get a stoppage in this one. I think that fight between Zong and Parker is going to convince a lot of people to buy this fight. And for certain, I think that undercard fight makes this event that much more interesting. But look, at the end of the day, shout out to the Saudis. They're sharing the bag, man. They're getting these guys paid. Another fight in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Al Sheikh. Trying to put the best fights possible. I think this is more of a stay busy fight for Joshua.
Yeah.
And obviously he's probably looking ahead at the winner of Fury and Usyk.
With everything that we just said, Gio, that Anthony Joshua is the type of guy to not make mistakes, to learn from another guy's mistake. How shocking would it be if a guy like Francis Ngannou were to, catch Joshua in an exchange when we know Joshua gets brave, and let's say he knocks him down, knocks him out. How hurtful to Joshua's career would that be?
Very, I think very, man. Look, I think him and Fury had the opportunity to make the biggest fight in UK history, one of the biggest fights in heavyweight history. Hasn't happened, didn't happen when both guys were at the top, and if he were to lose or I think struggle against Ngannou, I think obviously that fight goes from being what I described to a less interesting fight, especially with Tyson Fury also struggling against this MMA fighter. So yeah, I think it will hurt him a lot. I think it'll be time for Joshua to start taking higher risks, lower rewards. Probably fight a guy like Zile in China, Chris, not in the UK. You probably have to go to China and fight, and start fighting these younger heavyweights, to try to get his name back up there. But at the end of the day, everything revolves around Fury, Usyk, and what happens there. That fight is in May, so these guys, I think in the meantime, are trying to stay active, trying to stay ready. And of course, no one wants to lose because, that undisputed title is next or might be next for any of these guys if they get that big win.
Yeah. So, Gio, my question is, do we ever get an Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury? And if we do, what needs to happen? You know, what do these two guys need to do? You know, to fight, in your opinion?
Well, I think they just got to win their next fight. You know, obviously Fury has a much tougher task, but I think if they both win, I don't see them not making this fight. As I said, biggest fight in UK history, one of the biggest fights in heavyweight history. A lot of money. Go to Wembley, go to Saudi Arabia, wherever it is, they're gonna make a lot of money. So I can't see a scenario where if they both win, the fight doesn't happen.
Yeah, for me, Anthony Joshua has to knock out Francis Ngannou. I think his stock has fallen more because of losses to Usyk. That one loss to Andrew Ruiz. I think he needs a statement, and he has to do it against somebody, you know, that he can. Who you and I know he can, and someone that, you know, we mentioned Tyson Fury struggled or didn't look his best against. As for Tyson Fury, I think he needs to soundly beat Usyk. I don't know if that's possible. We know that Usyk is ultra skilled, one of the most disciplined fighters in the game, so that's going to be a tougher assignment, like you said. But yeah, like you said, both these guys need to win their next fight. I think Tyson Fury needs to win more convincingly, so people can not entertain a rematch or a rubber match. The way, you know, he had to fight Deontay Wilder. I don't know how he got 3 fights out of that, but he did. So it's something like that needs to happen. The worst case scenario is that we get a Amir Khan versus Kell Brook with these two giants. And like we said, we always talk great about the British fans. They have one of the best fan bases in all of boxing, and it would be very disappointing if we see like these two guys, you know, past their prime, later on, like 5, 6, 7 years from now, finally getting it on when that interest is no longer there. So yeah, like we said, they need big wins. They need to get off a high and finally face each other in the ring.
Yeah, and I think if I'm not mistaken, Khan Brook, I think that was one of the first big fights in Saudi Arabia, if I'm not mistaken. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but that was one of the original fights over there, from what I remember. But yeah, I don't know. My sentiment, I feel like Joshua needs to do more to earn that fight. You know, you said, in your opinion, Fury has to look good. To me, Joshua has to look good, because if Fury wins, you just beat probably the best heavyweight of this era, right? Besides Tyson, right? So I feel like if he wins that fight, people will give him his credit. And on the other hand, Joshua, as I mentioned, 3 losses. He already lost to the guy twice that Fury beat, if indeed he beats him. So I feel like Joshua has to do a little more, but hey, man, there's a lot of money there. Like I said, I don't see it not happening. But yeah, look, there's a lot of movement, a lot of action right now in the heavyweight division. This fight Friday, let me pull it up here. We'll talk about this next, but Friday, don't miss it. I believe it's pay-per-view, Chris, the Zone. As I said, I'll find a way to watch it. I'll probably be at work, but I'll find a way to watch it. That Zile, Joseph Parker, tough fight, man. I think, you know, we've been giving predictions this year. Chris, we updated the people last time on the big fights that we're doing predictions. I think this is a great fight to make an official prediction on. If you want to throw Joshua Ngannou in there too, but to me, this Zile Joseph fight, that's, man, it might be 50-50. I don't know.
Yeah, that's one, like, that's a thinker, man. That's one of those where, you know, usually in fights you kind of know off the back who, but this one's like, I gotta think about it a little bit, you know, kind of fight. Obviously, you know, both these guys coming off like big wins, you know, and Joseph over, you know, Deontay Wilder, Alex Dong over Joe Joyce twice. So it's tough, man. Man, who was the tougher opponent of those two? That's how I go off of it. Ooh, I'm gonna go with Zele Zong. I'm gonna say that he's got some he's got some power that can stun Joseph. And of course, it's the heavyweight division. They can both hurt each other. But I'm gonna go with Zong. I'm gonna go with Zong, Gio.
Man, yeah, this is a tough one. Look, his only loss came to Hrgovic. Controversial loss. That was in the summer of 2022. Hrgovic was 14-0 at the time. And then he TKO'd Joe Joyce in 6. That was in 2023. Later that year, he TKO'd Joyce again in 3 at the Wembley Arena. And then, of course, now he's facing Joseph Parker. The only thing that worries me is right here. Age. 40 years old, Zile. 40 years old. Of course, he's going to have the size advantage. He's listed as 6'6". 26 1-1, 21 KOs in those 26 victories. And on the other hand, Joseph Parker, 34 and 3, 23 KOs, not the biggest puncher. 32 years old, 8 years younger, listed as 6'4", so a couple inches shorter. He's coming off that big win against Deontay. Won all 12 rounds, essentially. That fight happened in December. So, and then before that, Simon Keane, Figa Opelu, Jack Massey, like no notable opponents. The last one before that was Joe Joyce in 2022, and he got stopped. I think that was a bit surprising to some people, you know. So, man, to me, man, I'm gonna go with Zile, Big Bang. I'm gonna go with Zile. Did you say whether you think it's gonna be a knockout or decision?
In the heavyweight division, I usually don't go with decisions. Yeah, I'm gonna play it safe. I'm gonna say decision. I'm gonna say Zile's on by decision, but I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a knockout. But again, like you said, Joe, this is near 50-50 fight, 55-45 either way. It's a tough ask. If I'm wrong, I won't be mad. It's not close of a fight. But I'm gonna say Zile's on by decision.
All right, I'm gonna go with Zile Zong stoppage. I think Joseph Parker is a very good fighter. I just think that Zile is gonna go out there and fight as if this was his last fight, you know, because it can be his last fight. He's 40 years old. You know, you hear about, you know, Bob Arum trying to tap into that Chinese market. All of that gets thrown out the window if this guy doesn't win. So a lot of people are going to be watching him, a lot of eyes on him. 1 billion people over there in China are going to be watching him, you know. So I feel like he's going to go out there and treat it as such, you know. I think it's going to be very tough because Joseph Parker is coming off a very good win, a lot of momentum on his side. He's going to be confident. But yeah, I think ultimately the power of Zong is going to be the determining factor, and that's why I think he gets a stoppage. As you said, 12 rounds. You know, both of these guys have pretty good stamina. You know, they can go 12. You know, Joseph looked fresh against Deontay Wilder, and he went the distance. So I think it's going to be tough, but I think Zile needs this, and I think he'll get it. But as I said, I think it's close to a 50-50 fight for me.
Yeah, I think if I'm wrong and Zile gets a knockout, I wouldn't be surprised. Like you said, Gio, the age factor 40. When you're 40, you're not trying to get into the late rounds. If you get a guy hurt, you're gonna try to finish him off. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets the knockout. And yeah, again, this is a great fight, Gio. Again, it's very close. This one might steal the show for that night. And I think whoever wins this fight definitely deserves a shot at the title. Again, if they're coming off 2 of the biggest wins, and then the 2 winners are matching each other, the winner of this fight should definitely get a title shot. Thanks.
Big bro says Parker UD.
Woo!
That can happen. It's definitely a possibility. So very, very good fight. We'll be tuned in to see how that fight unfolds, Chris. But just moving on from this, in other news, we did want to shout out our boy Alan Garcia, who just got signed to Top Rank, Chris. We kind of had the word shortly after his last fight. You know, they let us know that, you know, they're being signed to Top Rank. It's official now. It's public. You see there, Alan Garcia, 11-0, 9 KOs, 21 years old from Kansas. You see him there with the Godfather. And they announced, too, he'll be on the undercard of Valdez, Wilson, Estrada, Valle. That's Friday, March 29. He'll be on that card as well, Chris.
Hey, no, man, shout out to Alan Garcia, 21 years of age. You know, he's fought under the Top Rank banner for a couple of events at fights now. He finally gets that deal from the Godfather. I've said it again, Gio, like when we pose a question, who would you sign with? If you're starting your career, who do you sign with? Do you sign with the Godfather and Top Rank, or Golden Boy and Oscar de la Hoya, or Matchroom? Like we always ask these questions. I feel like Top Rank is probably one of the better ones to sign when you're young. We've seen him give a lot of opportunities to these young fighters. We see the Vargas brothers get on that card, and we see a bunch of up and coming young talent get shown on Top Rank. I think it's a great move, a smart move. I would say do 5-6 years with Bob Arum. You know, be very careful about your, how you sign those things. But I think you work in phases. We had Honor Barbosa be with Bob Arum for a while there. I think if you start with Bob and you end up with Oscar in your late 20s, early 30s, I think that's the way to go, Gio. But again, shout out to Alan, 21 years of age. Signs his first contract with Top Rank, and again, I think he's going to be showcased very well with the Godfather.
Yeah, man. Big congrats. Big moves. Coach G will be busy. She has 2 fighters now on that card. Of course, Yocasta Valle. And now Kid Kansas, Alan Garcia. So stay tuned. That's Friday, March 29, ESPN Plus, Glendale, Arizona. Big card. Do not miss it. Also, let's go to some quick polls that I posted, Chris, on here. We didn't get a chance to discuss them last week, but let me go back here. One of the questions was, who should Berlanga fight next? Of course, and then also there you see Neri Inoue, the official poster. That's coming up as well, May 6th from Tokyo, Japan. Okay, so first of all, let's go to the poll that asks, are you watching Joshua versus Ngannou this Friday? Yes, it should be a good fight. 68%. There's some interest in it. No, don't care about that fight. 32%. So, hey, that's actually pretty good. I just posted this a day ago, 130 votes, but 68% of them are saying, yeah, it should be a good fight.
Yeah, I think like we said, Joe, I think Ngannou got a little bit of a respect. I think a lot of people share the same sentiments that we did. We didn't really take him seriously. We didn't know too much about his background outside of MMA. Like, we didn't know how skilled he was. He showed a lot of heart. He showed some boxing skills. He showed some resistance, power, of course. So I think a lot of people were like, okay, this guy is he's a champion for a reason, and that's other sport. And for him to drop, our guy over here, there's a little bit of respect. So, yeah, I think that's why it makes people for an interesting match. And again, this is a guy that, Joshua can use to propel him to, a fight with one of the champions at the heavyweight division.
All right. Who should Berlanga fight next? You see the poll here. 17% said Canelo, 37% said Jaime Munguia, 16% said Mosley Jr., 30% said Diego Pacheco.
Ooh. I think our people know, man. I think they know who he matches up the most with. I think a guy like Mosley Jr., he's got a name, but you don't want to lose to a guy like that where, you lose at all, and then you lose that momentum. Munguia is a guy that I think people will respect you if we were to fight a guy like that and come up short. I think a lot of people don't want to see him against Canelo. I don't think he's earned that meal ticket. So yeah, it would make sense. I think our fans are very knowledgeable. They know that Munguia is the guy that makes the most sense. What do you think, Jim?
Yeah, for sure. And I'm kind of surprised. Like 1,000 votes, 30% voted for Diego Pacheco. You know, Diego Pacheco's name is getting out there. You know, Chris, and I've mentioned this before too. Like you said, knowledgeable boxing fans here in our channel, because a lot of people when they see that Canelo name, they automatically click on it. But look, only 17%, and whereas Diego Pacheco got 30, Munguia got 37. People know their stuff, man. People know kind of the level where Berlanga belongs. And look, Diego Pacheco's coming, young Mexican fighter, repping South Central LA, you know, and of course Munguia is getting there. You know, they're saying the Canelo fight is almost a done deal. Looks like he's gonna get it, but you know, Berlanga still got work to do. Munguia still got work to do. Pacheco still got work to do. I think those three names are very, very good and around the same level, I would say, man. Don't sleep on Diego Pacheco, man. This guy's been putting in work since the amateurs. Doesn't have a ton of professional fights like Munguia. Munguia has over 40 fights. He's undefeated, but he hasn't faced the toughest opposition. Obviously, a lot of fights in Mexico and all that. But yeah, just wanted to touch on that real quick. And then let me answer this question real quick about Kid Kansas. The Chitlin distributor says, can Kid Kansas still make 130? How did he ever make that? He looks huge. No, he's at 135 now. And, you know, during our podcast interview, if you guys want to check it out, it's up on our channel. He did mention he's probably not going to spend too much time there. 135, probably 140, then 147. You know, he's a big guy. He's about, what, 5'10", Chris? He's got good size. He's strong, muscular, you know. So yeah, he's not gonna spend much time at 140. He'll probably get some good fights, maybe one of those secondary titles if he gets the opportunity, and then probably move up to 147.
Yeah, no, like you said, Joe, I think when we first met him, you know, I think he was already kind of like struggling to stay in that division, and obviously he was what, like a 19-year-old at that time.
Yeah,
and obviously you're growing, you're still growing.
Yeah.
Next time we saw him, he was like two inches taller. So yeah, he's still growing. We can see him growing into that 140, 147 frame. He's still 21. You know, he's still gonna put on more mass. So yeah, he's definitely too big for that size. And we know how you know Coach B cooking. Yeah, you're not gonna say no to that.
Yeah. Don't forget he's only 21 years old. So this guy burns all the fat, and especially with Coach G there. You know, like you said, trainer, manager, chef as well. She keeps him healthy. So yeah, they make weight comfortably. They don't struggle, but yeah, he's a big guy. So don't expect him to be too long, you know, at 140. Another question here, or another comment. Ali Penfold says AJ is going to stick and move. Yeah, I think so. I think that would be the smart thing to do. Frustrate Ngannou, get him tired, you know, stick that jab out there. That jab is going to hurt. You know, it's a heavyweight. That jab is going to hurt. So stick and move, and when you get the chance, boom, go for the finish.
Yeah, I think Joshua, you know, I think he learned from his first fight with Andy Ruiz. Of course, you always say you never overlook any opponent, but when you got thousands and thousands of messages in your DMs, you know, when you hear a bunch of yes man, you know, telling you like, oh, you're gonna mop the floor with this guy, you know, you start to believe it. So I think he overlooked Andy that first fight. I think he learned from that one. There's no way to prepare for a guy like Usyk. There's no way to overlook that guy, but I think he learned not to overlook the guys that people expected to beat easily. So I see him boxing him to a knockout. So yeah.
All right, there you have it, Chris. I don't know if you have anything else to add. I'm gonna just try to look up real quickly for you guys the time that they're posting here. This is on the DAZN website. I'm trying to see what exact time, you know, this fight will be. Here you see it, Chris. I don't know if you have anything else to add before we get out of here while I look this up.
Now I was gonna say, what are your thoughts, Gio, on them saying the sources saying that Munguia is possibly Canelo's opponent? Are you buying into that? Are you waiting until it's official? What do you think?
Man, that's what it looks like right now. I think they're just trying to save it. I think they're just trying to save the date. May 5th. And it makes sense. Two Mexican fighters, right? I think they're running out of time, and I think that's just the fight that they have to go to. We talked about it last week. David Benavidez chose Alexander Vostek instead, so he didn't even wait for his chance. He chose another opponent, so that's out of the table. Charlo out there drinking and posting videos, I think that's out of the table. That's probably the fight that Al Heyman and PBC wanted. They wanted to get the twins paid, but one of them got paid, got destroyed. The other one fumbled the bag, it seems like. I don't think he's ready to fight. And then after that, really, it's not too many people left. Berlanga, I mean, I think most people would agree that Berlanga's not ready. That's probably the fight that will receive the most criticism. People want to mention Crawford, man. I don't think that's a realistic fight. He's a welterweight. I don't think there's any way he's fighting a super middleweight. Even though Canelo's not the biggest guy, but I think that's too much to ask for. And like I said, there's not much left, man. There's not much left. I think Munguia makes sense. Cinco de Mayo, two Mexicans. He's coming off a good win. They're going to make a lot of money. They're going to sell a lot of pay-per-view. So I think it makes sense. Whether I like it or not, I don't think I'm there yet. I'm going to wait until it's official to get my thoughts on that. But yeah, I think everything points toward Munguia. I don't know if you agree or you think they have a trick up their sleeve.
Man, I think I've heard so many names and so many people jumping the gun. It's probably impossible, but I think I'm just burned out with people saying that name. That like it's one of those where I'm just gonna wait till it's official till I see it on Las Vegas websites. Like it's official when I see it on so it's likely that it is made, and if so, congratulations to Munguia on getting a payday. I know we criticized him a lot early on, and he's slowly come around, man. So if he does, congratulations, life-changing money. My question to you, Gio, is what if this one is official? What percentage of a chance do you give Munguia right now
to win the fight?
Yeah,
I'm gonna give him about 20%. I think obviously Canelo has a ton of pro fights. He didn't really have an amateur career, but he does have a ton of pro fights. He's been in tough fights. He's faced big punchers. In the last 3-4 years, he's been fighting guys significantly bigger than him. From the 175 pounders to when he fought Triple G, he was going up in weight. He fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who was a cruiserweight on fight night. I think the wear and tear is natural. I think Munguia has to catch him slipping. I don't see it happening. Canelo has had, surgery on one of his hands, injuries on his knees. On some of the fights, you see him wearing those little knee sleeves and stuff like that. So obviously natural wear and tear. But yeah, I don't give Munguia much of a chance, even though I do think it will be a very entertaining fight. I think I can even see another fight between them. I could see a rematch if it's close enough. I can see Canelo outboxing Munguia maybe the first half of the fight, and then second half, maybe se fajan, Chris, like Mexicans. They just go at it. And I think that's a win-win for both. You make the fight a little exciting. You go at it, Mexican warriors, and then you get the people excited and maybe create a rematch. And Canelo, I'm sure he's retiring soon within the next 2-3 years. So I think that would be smart to do. But hey, we'll see. We'll see if and when it's official, and we can get more into detail and all that.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, I think 20% is right on the money. It's not a huge, chance, but it's somewhat of a chance. And I agree. I think unless you get like a Manny Pacquiao Asian fighter against a Ugas, the young fighter that kind of like okay, kind of shocks you how well they do. I don't see Munguia winning this fight, and I agree that not a whole lot of people are really clamoring for this fight. It's kind of difficult to find a sexy name for Canelo to face unless it's a Vivo rematch or maybe even a better big, but or Benavides. But it's kind of tough. But I do agree that you in not expecting a whole lot, you could get some nice action between two fighters, two Mexican fighters, and if it's obviously a full Mexican crowd, and you get Canelo, kind of engaging more, and yeah, also letting them hands go at against the ropes and stuff and in close quarters, you could get a heck of a competitive 7-8 rounds. So yeah, again, I'm not a whole lot excited, not super excited, but at the same time, I'm like, hey, it might be better than what we expect. So if that does happen, again, I'll be looking forward to seeing this fight. I already got tickets, bought them 3-4 months ago, so or tickets to Vegas. So yeah, I'm gonna be there either way. Might as well enjoy.
Yeah, I think they mentioned last week that they were gonna announce the fight that week. So there's some delays there, So we'll just have to wait and see, man. We'll have to wait and see. I know there was a clip of Munguia on the Eric Morales podcast, Un Round Más with Barrera. That Munguia, I didn't click on it, but the title said that Munguia, one of his regrets was not fighting Triple G. So look, if he's able to fight Canelo, bigger name, bigger payday. So I think that makes up for it. That kind of cancels out. So, but we'll wait and see, Chris. We'll wait and see.
And again, Gio, you're gonna get La Banda, you're gonna get el mariachi, you're gonna get el gran campeón mexicano Julio Cesar Chavez is gonna be there. Like you mentioned, you're gonna have Eric Morales. You're gonna have all these Mexican legends in that arena. So again, it's gonna be a Mexican celebration. Again, you may not have the the salivating kind of fight, but you're gonna have all these names in that building. So if anything, just look at the positives to that kind of fight.
Yeah, and look, Munguia brought him out last fight, against John Ryder. So this is going to be a big fight. It really is. It's going to sell well. Tickets are going to sell. I'm sure the live gate is going to do well. So just because Munguia is not on Canelo's level, don't act like it's not going to be a big fight. All these guys mentioned the same thing. We haven't had a Mexican war like that in a while. Guys like Morales are saying that. Guys like Julio Cesar Chavez are saying that. So I feel like they want a fight like that. They need a fight like that. Cinco de Mayo, I think, is a perfect scenario. It's going to be a big fight, man. People might criticize it now, but I think on fight night and then after that, they'll realize, the magnitude of two Mexican stars, going at it, just like the good old days, man. But before we get out of here, you're seeing this on your screen, the times that the zone is posting for Friday's event, 4 p.m. UK time, 11 a.m. Eastern, so 8 a.m. Pacific. All right. Main event, ring walks, it says 5:50 p.m. Eastern time. So that makes 2:50 p.m. Pacific. So let's just say 3 p.m. All right. So it's going to be early. It's going to be early in the morning. Well, not early in the morning, but early compared to the fights that we're used to, right? We're not getting them on prime time. Kind of strange that it's a Friday. I think Saturday would have made more sense if they're going with this time because in the UK it's pretty late too. But anyway, tune in. I think it's going to be good. We're both going with Zile. We're both going with AJ. We'll see next week if we were correct or not.
Yeah, man. I guess I'm gonna sneak out of work a little early on Friday, try to catch this fight. Again, it pins some very good heavyweights names. Outside of Usyk and Tyson Fury, these are like the heavyweights I'm excited to see. So yeah, man. Again, shout out to Turkey. That guy's a blessing to the sport. It just so happens that he's got a bunch of money and he's willing to put, boxers first. Again, that was refreshing to hear. I think everybody that's a fan of boxing, when we heard him utter those words and we saw him bring together all kinds of promoters to the table because money talks, I think we were all very happy that he's in the sport. So shout out to him. Shout out to these men that are going to do battle come Friday. And, man, we're going to be there to support, man, whether it's watching through a stream or whatever. We're gonna catch that fight.
All right, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. AtR podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys for tuning in live. Thank you guys for those who will be watching the replay. Hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Thanks for keeping that chat lit. You guys here on the live. We'll be back next week. Friday we got some action, big heavyweight action, and then we have a lot coming up in March, April, and May. So stay tuned. We still have a ton of boxing to come. It's just the first quarter of the year, and there's a lot more coming, man. So thank you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the show, and we'll be back, mates. Shout out to you, Turkey. Salute. I gotta get a turkey poster. Put it back here. I got the Golovkin Canelo poster. I got an Ali poster over there. Got like a Kobe and Shaq one over there. I gotta get turkey on the wall.
Todo. Puro Venado, dog. Congratulations to Venado. Let's go.
Saludos, papá. Puro Mexicali. Let's go, mates.
Let's go.
Saludos a Tijuana también, Munguia. He's about to win the lottery. He's about to do it. Let's go, mate. Shout out to Ryan.
Hola amigos, soy Juan Francisco Gallo Estrada. Quiero mandar un saludo para mis amigos de Contra las Cuerdas. Echenle muchas ganas. Un abrazo, muchas bendiciones.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. You know what mine is? Let's box, bitches. It's almost fight night.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you for the support. Keep doing your thing. You're doing a great job. So thank you and best wishes.
Against the Ropes. Huge shout out to Against the Ropes. Against the Ropes.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you guys for the interview and hope to see you guys soon.
Against the ropes, always doing the right thing.
Shout out to Against the Ropes, man. I appreciate you guys for having me, taking the time on y'all day.
Against the Ropes, #1.
Freddie Roach.
Thank you very much.